from Windsor West.
Thank you, Speaker. The member from Simcoe North is a tough act to follow. It's my pleasure to rise on behalf of the New Democratic Caucus and speak to the International Day of Pink this year. By standing up to bullying and discrimination today, we are working towards a more accepting Ontario tomorrow. I think that the popularity of the Day of Pink speaks volumes to its success and the hard work of organizers, activists, and communities across the province, and I want to thank everyone who has organized an event next week for all of their efforts. Organizations like Jer's Vision, Egale, Queer Ontario, and the Trans Lobby Group are leaders in the fight against homophobia, sexism, racism, transphobia, and discrimination in all its forms. The fight against bullying and discrimination is no easy task, and there is no one target. Indeed, it is an effort to change what's accepted and seen as normal in society, rather than trying to change someone to fit into socially constructed norms. We need to challenge anything and everything that asks us to change who we are to appease others' expectations of us. This cannot be more true than when we are talking about Ontarians who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, or queer. To this day, there are discriminatory practices in this province that would shock the conscience of most Ontarians. So-called conversion therapy is one such practice. Conversion or reparative therapy is based on medically discredited practices adhering to distorted belief that you can prevent youth from being LGBTQ. Right now, there are medical professionals in this province who are charging OHIP to practice this therapy on youth for what they see as treatment for a mental illness. The twisted beliefs of a few doctors and counsellors who think they can fix LGBTQ youth perpetuate discrimination against these individuals. To quote Ohio trans teen Leela Alcorn, who experienced a level of discrimination so severe it resulted in her suicide, "Fix society, please." Recently, the Canadian Mental Health Association found that 20% of trans respondents have experienced physical or sexual assaults, and 34% were subject to verbal threats or harassment. The overwhelmingly majority of respondents indicated that they contemplated suicide, and 45% had attempted suicide at some point. New Democrats will not stand for the medical quackery that is conversion therapy, and my colleague from Parkdale High Park has pioneered legislation to stop this practice. Bill 77 seeks to ensure health professionals reject any attempts to prevent a youth from being LGBTQ. It also affirms the right of youth to self-identify. I hope that all members of this chamber understand that an option to complain to the CPSO is insufficient in combating discrimination against LGBTQ youth. We need Bill 77 to be enacted into law. Already, as a result of this bill and the tireless efforts of LGBTQ activists, Centre for Addiction and Mental Health has launched a complete review of their treatment of trans youth. This bill has secured tremendous support for medical professionals and their accredited organizations. Jake Pike of McMaster University stated that the member from Parkdale High Park is sending a strong message to health and mental health practitioners in this province. The Canadian Psychological Association affirms that all adolescent and adult persons have the right to define their gender identity, regardless of chromosomal sex, genitalia, assigned birth sex, or initial gender or role. Speaker, it's fitting that Bill 77 is up for debate tomorrow and followed by the International Day of Pink next week. I hope that this government will follow the lead of activists working with New Democrats to advocate for LGBTQ youth and support this bill. With all of the great strides that the Day of Pink has made in the fight against discrimination, I hope the passing of this bill will be the next positive step forward to building acceptance throughout the province.
Thank you. Thank all members for